Welcome to Access Unlock the show. I am your girl, Kaye, TheTruth, and in studio today, I'm so excited to we have Miss Perrion Roberts. Welcome, Perrion.
Hi everyone. How are you?
I am doing great. For those that don't know, Miss Perrion was the original, and I hate to say it, Queen of the South. Oh man, what do you have to say, or what do you want to say when people call you the original Queen of the South? How do you feel about that?
Um, well, and being that they had already started calling me that and Queen P years ago, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. It doesn't affect me any kind of way. Um I just know that I went from being the queen of the South of the drug game to being the queen of the South of helping people that is formerly incarcerated or getting out, helping them to maneuver in society and help. I help a lot of people with their cases and helping a lot of people get their cases expunged and dismissed in the courtroom. So I went from one queen of the South to the other part, I guess. So it's
Because
okay.
right now you are advocate for the people, for people with felony convictions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's pretty much what you're saying. Okay, good deal. And now I want to go back because I used to love watching the Queen of the South TV show. So calling you
Right.
the Queen of the South to make me think about the TV show. For those who don't know what the Queen of the South TV show was, it was about somebody that came all the way up selling drugs and hey, just took over. So I want to ask you, how did you get started in being one of the largest um, drug dealers inside the United States?
Well, I got started when I was a teenager with a guy that I met when I was in college. And when we started dating, he wasn't selling drugs. He and his family, they mostly did a lot of stealing and stuff like that. And so he used to be in the project all the time. And he said, they're making a lot of money off of marijuana. So I never had seen any drugs other than in a book. And so, anyways, we took my little check. I was working at Taco Bell, and we took a little check and we, invested. And it went from there. But it was a struggle. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't nothing that happened overnight. There I got started like at 84. And it really took me until probably like 88 to really, um, 87, I say around 87, 88, in order to really get a grip of things and to start really making money. Um, so that's really how I started. I started with him and he taught me everything that I knew. Well, he taught me a lot because then I learned more as I got older and was more in the street. But he taught me how to hustle. He taught me how to manage myself as being a female in the street. And so, my parents didn't like that, because I come from a working class family. My father had his own construction business, and my mother worked for the government. And so, you know, I also attended Catholic school. So you're talking about somebody that absolutely knew nothing about crime. And but he taught me everything. He taught me how to handle myself.
So you had a 30-year span, but I want to go back to something you said. You said your parents were, they worked hard, and you also went to a Catholic school. I can kind of relate to my parents being, hard workers, but my parents were strict. Do you think by being in a Catholic school and the way your parents were, that make you want to look out and see what's on the other side because they had you in this little box? At least that's the way I felt about my life. So I turn around, you live in
It
this
was
straight line, but then you want to see what's on the other side. Is that kind of what happened for you?
That's kind of what happened, because my parents wouldn't let me go anywhere. And
Right.
they at that time they had like the skating rink, and So, and they had all night skating. Well, I couldn't stay all night. The all night was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but I had to leave about 8. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I just when I got to college, I could maneuver just a little bit because I'm still living in the house with them. So, um, with my mom, because my mom and my dad got a divorce when I first went to high school. And so, but my mom was really strict. My mom was really
Right.
strict. My grandparents were strict. So, for me to venture out like that was because I just wanted to see what was
Mm-hmm.
going on. Got a chance to go to the mall ballroom, and that's where I met Champ at, was at the mall ballroom. That's where all the kids, high schoolers, that's where we went to have fun. Dance, school dance, really is what they had.
And, and see, I don't think parents understand. This is on a whole different. Parents don't understand that you can be too strict to your child, and then they want to see everything. And that's kind of what happened to me. I'm like, let me go. I've been sheltered all this time, so I appreciate you touching on that topic with me as well. So when you met Champ, how did you decide you were going to take over? Was it because he was locked down, or how did you take over the I'm gonna say the company? That's the word I'm going to use.
Yeah. Yes, because he was out front. I was not. I was still going to school, and I was working. So nobody really saw me. They just saw me with him or whatever, but not in the streets. And he shot a guy, and they came to our apartment, of course, and they locked him up, and they gave him, what, 2 years or something like that. And so when he left the streets, the people that we had started, because we started coming up with the marijuana, we had pounds of it. We started getting pounds and selling. So we was doing fairly well, decent, um, great at that time, pretty much. So when he got locked up, he called me and he told me, he said, I need you to go pick up money from this person, that person, that person. So I did. And then some of them gave it to me, as one guy, he even went around with me a couple of days helping me collect. And then this particular day when I went by myself, and the guy, he didn't want to give me the money. And I just don't know how to accept no for an answer.
I know that's right,
So
girl.
so so when he told me no, the first thing came to my mind is what Champ had taught me. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't
Right.
let nobody take nothing from you. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I felt like you taking from us while you telling me no, you're not gonna give us our money. And so I shot him in the leg. And at that time, if you shot somebody in the leg, you didn't get no time, because if you shot them below the belt, you didn't get no time. If you did, or they pressed charges, it was assault, and it was a misdemeanor. At that time, anything above the
Right.
belt was a felony or whatever. And so he gave me the money. Well, I took it, and and then people just started talking. You know how people do. They talk, they talk, they talk. And so that's when I didn't have any problems with people paying me my money, you know.
So they knew at that time you weren't playing no games and you was nobody to be played with.
No, I didn't play no games, and I didn't come with a smile on my face.
Okay. So so at any time during your 30-year span, which hey, were you afraid at all? Or you were just like, no, this is what I'm doing?
No, I couldn't be afraid because I had so many guys that worked for me, and they depended on my strength. You know what I'm saying? They leaned on me
Right.
to be their guide. And I had just, no, I guess, seeing my dad fight my mom, and I just developed a shield anyways. And no, I can't think of a time that I was afraid. Um, not while I was dealing, because I've been in some places and that people would literally cringe and be in total fear, and I was
Yeah.
not, so I can't think of a time that I was afraid.
Well, I know with hey, they said you dealt with the Mexican cartel. I just think about El Chapo. I think I would have been afraid. But apparently, hey, you were not,
No,
and you got through.
yeah, I did because look, I really thought it was all fun. It was fun to me.
Yeah.
And so, and meeting different people, and expanding, because I was always looking for someone that could supply me so that I could grow and boom. And I just
Mhm.
couldn't find it, from Huntsville to Birmingham. I even been to Ohio, different places. And I just could never get that connect to elevate. And
Right.
at that time, a lot of people, they didn't trust me because I was a female. For one, it was like, oh, females don't sell drugs. You know what I'm saying? Well, this one do, you know.
Okay.
And so, and I can outsell you, and they never gave me a break. The guys, they had it, they would front other guys, but they never fronted me anything. Everything I got, I had to buy. And
Right.
so when I met my friends, and they was like, well, Perrion, we can help you. We can get you going. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been honest with people. I always paid people. I did good business, and no one's money ever came up missing with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You was about
So,
that business.
yeah. And so that's how I maintain the relationship with them. And I used to go to McAllen, to I go down there sometimes just to kick it with them, or I go down there, I take the money. You could take money across the border, but you couldn't bring nothing back across the border.
Right.
And so they would have a mule to come up and bring it. And they trusted me and I trusted them, so, and we had a great relationship.
I need to know because I want to know how much money were you making in a day, month, or week, and how did you keep a how, keep a tab on it to make sure nothing's missing? And what was your lifestyle like? I mean, you had millions rolling in.
Ah, my lifestyle was, I was still street hustling, basically. Um, but I had cars. I had so many cars that most of them was, I call them my trap cars. Like people say trap houses. I had trap houses. I had trap cars too. I use the cars until the police get hot on me, and then I get out and leave them. And with the keys in them. I've seen people riding down the road in my cars, but I didn't want them no more. Um, I made a lot of money. And how I tried to keep tabs on it, because I really didn't know how much money I had for real. I know I had a lot. I had to buy a money machine to count money, because I tried to count it, just me and one of my little guys, uh, that I had raised. He was about the only one that I trusted to be around me. So one night, because I kept my money at my grandmother's house. Fine place to keep it. I should have been keeping it in the stock market, but
Mhm.
um, but anyways, we was sitting there one night. We was trying to count it, and I didn't know that your hands would turn green counting money. Cause
Wow, I didn't
I
know that. I
never.
guess all the ink and just coming through
Yeah,
as a sweat
the
or
ink.
something.
Yeah, and your hands literally will turn green, if you count a lot of it, and it's dirty. It's green, brown. It's everything. Money is literally dirty. Um, And we lost count. So I bought a money counting machine. That's how I kind of like knew where I was, and then I just really didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I just made money and drop it off at my grandmother's house and keep it pushing. And
Yeah.
uh, and I took care of all my guys. I had over 75 guys working for me throughout Alabama, and so I'm picking up 20, $30,000 just in hours, and so, or less. So I mean, I don't know. I just didn't really care. I guess you could say.
Right. It was more just
Um,
like strictly business. I mean, it was
it was just
you
it
it
was
was just
yeah,
like
it was just
business. That
fun.
was
I'm
it.
making money. It was fun. It was a game to me. And when I succeeded and got past the guys who would not front me or look out for me when I was coming up to the ladder, well, of course, I surpassed them, and now they're down. So they come to me looking for that that up to help, and I wouldn't, because you didn't help me. So,
Right
but I
on.
would tax them if they bought from me. I'd tax them real good, and but you know that's just it was just part of the game, and it was like playing chess. But when I won the game and it's just me on the board, now it's boring. I had nothing to do. That's how I come up with making the whoop ass stick. I had to have something to do. I have to be doing something
Okay, what's the
at
whoop
all
ass stick?
times.
Hold on. Don't tell me you used to beat them like that.
You silly.
You can't say
I
the whoop ass stick and not tell us what the whoop ass stick is.
it was a stick that I made. I was in the project one day and I had nothing to do. And so it was some wood out there and it was this pipe. So I took this pipe and I took this wood and some duct tape, and I wrapped it and I made it so that I could grip it, where I could have a good grip. And I know that it would knock your ass out because it had that steel pipe in there
Yeah.
entwined with that wood. And so I whooped this girl with it because she hit me in the head with a Michelob bottle at the club.
She should have
That's
known
why I don't
better.
go to clubs now. That was in like '87. I don't go to club. I hate clubs, really. I go, but I don't care for them. Um, and then we had to take a guy out in the up the mountain and hang his ass upside down because he stole one of my guys' music out of his car. And I had just bought it for him, for his car. And he was a thief. He and his brother ran around stealing music and stuff because that was a big thing then. And so we caught him. We took him up the mountain, stripped him buck naked, and whooped him with the whoop ass stick. We all did.
I need to get one of those. I don't know why. Just the name alone is funny. The whoop ass, but hey, it had, did what it do at that time. So I take it from this
It
that
did.
nobody really. I'm sure they had to hear the stories on the streets. So nobody really tried you. Not really. They
No, and they
tried you, but they
didn't.
didn't try you.
Yeah, no, and yeah, after she did that, because I whooped her up under a van. And it was so many polices out there, but they didn't do anything. They just said unidentified woman shooting. Oh, I shot the club up, and wasn't nobody standing but me. And you would see tables moving, people hiding behind the tables and trying to get to the door, moving with the tables. Um, but no, didn't nobody. They didn't try me. I didn't have to fight or anything. If I got into it with somebody, it's cause my guys had got into it with somebody, not
Right.
me. You know,
So did you have to
and
have a lot of security though? Because they knew you had money still. But I know your guys protected you. You had to have them around a little bit. Or were you oh, okay. They knew okay. Okay.
I had.
I got the hint.
Let me tell you where I would keep. I kept my money in my bra. You could see the money because I wasn't big as 50 Cent, and and you could, yeah. So I had money at full bra, had money in my pocket sticking all the way out front and back, everywhere. But they also know I had just as much money as I had on me. I had about just as many guns too. I had, if I had on boots, I got a gun in there. Have on jeans, I definitely got one in the little side pocket. They don't make them no more where you can put the little gun in the side no more. Yeah, they
Okay.
closed. They sold that pocket up, but and
You probably made them do
and
it. Look.
probably, probably, and I definitely would have one in my back. So
Uh-huh.
they just didn't bother me, and I was trigger happy. You know what I'm saying? And my dad told me if I pull it, shoot. He said,
Yeah.
don't pull a gun if you're not going to use it. So if I pull it, you can rest assured I'm using it. I don't pull it just to be showing you that I have a gun.
Right
And
on.
but yeah, it was, all of it was fun to me. And people say, well, I don't see how it was fun when you was doing all of that, selling drugs and all of that. Yeah, it was fun to me because I made it fun. We did things. And I took my guys to Six Flags, places they had never been before. Some of them never got a chance to, had never been to restaurants before, and I took them places. I showed them how to survive. And I every time I see a homeless person, I give them $100
Yeah.
all day. Yeah. Because I had nothing else to do, and I teach my guys, the ones that was really connect really with me all the time. Um, I tell them, well, you don't make as much as I do, but you give them something because in the end, trust me, God is going to remember that you remember somebody. That you'll never
Right
know when
on.
you're going to need that blessing. And boy, I tell you, I've been using my I've been using my
Mm-hmm.
but you know, um it was just all fun to me. And I just didn't have nobody bothering me, you know. They didn't. And
That's what's
then
up.
I made a beeper bag and you
What's a
know,
beeper bag?
the beeper bag was for my boosters, because I had boosters that would get our clothes and stuff. So I would take and make a beeper bag so they could put all the garments in the bag and not have to worry about the beeper going off, and they can just walk through the security and the beeper won't go off. And they got
Wow.
bags full of stuff, bag full, and because
I
I
need to know
uh-huh.
how was
I,
this is like some of the stuff I
okay.
can't even think of or even figure out how to do it. What is your thought process when you come up with this stuff? Because it's like, wait a minute, what? I mean, because it's like it take a first of all, it take a different type of mindset to run a million billion dollar company, which is pretty much what you had. And to come up with these different ideas, I guess your mind is just constantly going and thinking because some of this stuff is like brilliant.
Well,
Does that make sense?
when I was in prison, I have a patent too, a U.S. patent. I when I was in prison, I don't like doing laundry. I'm for real because my grandmother did my laundry, so um, you have to do your laundry. When you was in prison, and so I come up with the idea in it was in '94. It was an automatic detergent fabric softener dispenser for a wash machine. And 90 seconds after the water fills up, it would release the amount of detergent for the amount of clothes that you have in there. If you have a small load, you get a small load, a small amount of detergent and fabric softener. And it was all digital. And I came up with that in '94. I received my patent in '97 for it.
Wow,
So
that's amazing. That's
I don't
awesome.
know. Stuff just come to me. I don't know.
So, what you having a span, people don't realize, and I'm gonna keep repeating that. For 30 years, you was able to run the game I don't think I've ever heard of anybody, to especially be on top the way you are, to have a 30-year span. You got to sit back and think I did that, even though in the end, you did get, they wanted to, I think, give you 99 years, and they were going to give you 21, and you only served 2 years, something like that. I don't know if I
Yeah,
got my numbers right, but just to
yeah.
think, from, man, 30 years, and then to only have to
Well, I
serve
had some
2 years.
hiccups in there now. I had a few hiccups along the way before we got to that. They had busted me for 0.1 gram, gave me 10 years, and I only did like 15 months. And that's when I first went to prison, and I had appealed it, anyways. But when I went to prison, it was this old lady, this old Caucasian lady, and she didn't like black people, but she loved me. She took to me, and she was so heavy with the law. She knew how to write briefs. She knew how to do. She knew the law front and back. She the one that taught me how to write briefs, how to read cases,
Yeah,
and pick out what is the loophole in cases. She taught me that. I learned it from her. I didn't learn that from school because I didn't go to school until years later.
yeah,
In fact, when I got out this last time, and so I wasn't in there that long. They sent me to work release, and so modeling and acting and stuff. That's my first. That's one of my loves too. I modeled the whole time that I was selling drugs too. I did a lot of beauty pageants, and so I put together the first fashion show in prison, and got the warden to bring over the men prisoners to help along in the fashion show.
I
And
have a couple of
so
questions. Like,
okay.
it hadn't been nothing but questions. If you had something to change about your past, as well as your past in reference to the drug lifestyle, what would it be? Would you change
Nothing,
anything?
nothing,
Okay. And why you say nothing?
because that whole ordeal is what made me who I am today. That was the path that God chose for me to go down, for I believe to be able to help others that fall short and don't see a way out or think that there's no way out. And had I not went down that path, because I used to pray when I was a kid, because my mama kept us in church too. Hey,
Yeah.
um, and I used to pray. I used to ask my mama. I used to say, "Well, how can I get a Nobel Peace Prize? How can I get one like Martin Luther King?" She said, "Well, you have to be known around the world, and people got to know you. You got to do something that's going to impact the world." Well, I didn't know it was going to be drug dealing, but um, so I used to always think, well, what can I do that's going to impact the world? And so I just know that God, and I used to pray. I said, God, please, what is it that you want me to do? What can I do that's going to impact somebody's life and change somebody's life where I can make a difference? And so it took that. It took all of that because I learned something each and every time. I learned something. I was charged with capital murder, and I beat the case. Well, then
Tell us
people,
about the capital murder.
um, it was a guy that worked for me, and he, he at the time, I had some guys that was in Birmingham that I was dealing with. I told him, I said, don't ever try to go behind my back. I said, because down in Birmingham, they love me. You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
literally love me in Birmingham more than y'all do. But I said, and anyway, I hate that. I hate somebody to try to go behind my back and sneak and do stuff. And I told him, I said, don't do that. I said, and then anyways, if you mess up their money, they don't play in Birmingham. You know what I'm saying? And we was pretty close. Anyway, he did. He went and got some drugs from them, and he said he wasn't gonna pay him. And so they came up here, and they said, "Well, I had saw him, but I was on my way out of town with my daughter, and so I seen them. They said they were going to the club. Okay, bye." And but they were really up here looking for him, and when they found him, they shot him.
Wow.
And then they tried to say that I shot him first because we had an argument, and the argument was because he went behind my back, but he didn't owe me no money, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm a firm believer that you can't get your money out of a dead man. And
Right
so
on.
why would I kill you and you ain't gave me my money? That don't make no kind of sense. And so to me, other people don't think like that. But anyways, when before he died, the police, they asked him, "Did Perrion do this? Did Perrion do this?" And he told them no. He told them no on his deathbed. But they didn't want to believe that the man dying, he tell you no. I had nothing to do. I wasn't even in town.
Right.
And
They
so
just wanted to
they,
find a way to pin you up. That was it.
yes. And so they had arrested some of my guys. And I'm like, we had nothing to do with this. And so they said that they would release them if I would turn myself in. So that's what happened. I had to turn myself in for them to be released. And then I went to trial. And they dropped it from capital murder to just murder. So I went to trial on just murder. But I'm a praying person, and my mom was living at the time. And so we prayed our way up out of that one. Um, because one, I
I
wasn't
do
even in town and I didn't do it.
I do believe that prayer has helped you throughout everything to because
Oh yeah.
originally being given, offered 99 years to 21 and only served 2, and to look
Yeah.
as good as you look. Because for everything you've been through, girl, there's some people out here look rough. And you don't look
Thank
rough.
you.
You don't, you don't look rough at all. And I'm like, they just been drinking and they look so down, but you don't look rough. You look very, very good.
I'll
So
be
you stand
60 in a few days.
and don't look it. And that goes back to black don't crack. So you a
Ah,
good looking
yes.
60 for everything that you have been through. And I think it goes back, which I hate to say, it goes back that you looked at it as fun. You didn't look at it as hard work as far as what you did in the industry. So when you think of things as fun, it keeps you looking good, at least keeps you looking right. And then you still have that good spirit inside because throughout your story, what you said you gave to the homeless. You now here you are trying to help felons, get their life right. You also are Arthur, right? Beyond a Dream.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about you being an author.
No, no, no. That book don't exist. That book
Oh,
don't exist.
okay.
It's criminal thinking reform.
Okay.
And I did that first before I actually did the book of about me, which I'm
Okay.
almost done with. But
Okay. We'll come
what
back
it
to that
is,
later.
yeah, what it is to, when they say, well, you reform this, you reform from drugs, you reform from this, but no one ever talks about reforming the mind. Because
Right.
if the mind is not reformed, there's nothing that can be done, you know, because people have the tendency to want to put everything on someone else
Mm-hmm.
when it's really you. It's your thinking that caused all of this, not your mom's, not your dad, not how you grew up. We all grew up some type of way. We grew up with my dad beating our mom. We thought that shit was okay.
Right.
So, so it's you the person, and you have to want change. And in order to change, you got to change your thinking. And that's hard to change your thinking. It really is, because it's so easy to let somebody influence you to go back to doing wrong. Because
Hmm.
especially if you don't have any money. When you come out of prison, I lost everything because of a person I let keep my stuff, but
Now
it
that's
doesn't
where you
matter.
need to get the whoop ass stick.
Well, yeah, he died, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
he did. So no, don't be sorry. I'm just,
Okay.
it is what it is. When you do wrong and you wrong God's chosen one, then what do you expect?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Death. You know, it's in the Bible. So and I do think that I'm one of God's chosen ones. I can see the work that He has done in me that is being shown throughout the world, because a lot of things that have happened to me just have not happened before and still have not. It's hard for others. Whereas it's not like it's a cakewalk for me, but it's like I stand on the word and I pray a lot and I ask God to direct my path. So when He tell me to move, that's when I move.
Hmm.
And otherwise, you'll see me idle. And it's not because I want to be idle, it's because, you know, I just don't act on my own thoughts anymore. Because look what it got me.
Right. But
So,
also, God has helped you be pardoned.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Your
I
record
got
is
a full
expunged.
pardon. Yeah, I got a
Tell us
full
about
pardon first.
now.
Um,
How does that work? We hear about it, but how does that work? The pardon
okay,
thing.
so a pardon is, oh Lord, are you
I see
there?
you. Yes.
Where? I don't see you somehow.
It's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh Lord, I don't know how to bring you back.
But no, it's okay. I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So with a pardon, what a pardon does is allow you to vote. It gives you your civil rights back. If you get a full pardon, it gives you the civil rights back. If you get a partial pardon, that is only for you to vote. And so I have a full pardon, and my record probably about here as long as to Dallas. It was, and they gave me a pardon the first time, and then I went to school. I studied law because I was going to be a lawyer. I was adamant. I wanted to be a lawyer, and I had offers from the prosecutor to come and work in the DA office once I got my law degree. I graduated with honors, and then I moved. Well, before that, when I came home, they sent me to a halfway house in Birmingham. So I stayed there a few months, and I registered to vote. So Birmingham allowed me to vote. So then I come home to Huntsville, and I changed all my stuff so I could find out where I'm going to be voting. Well, Huntsville said that I couldn't vote. They said because I had cases of moral turpitude. So that means that cases that they have listed that you cannot get a pardon for, that is just deemed so bad. So I said, I didn't move from one state to another state. I just moved from one county to the other. And if that part of Alabama let me vote, this why you can't. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's what sparked the
Right.
lawsuit. Because when I was in prison, I sued the Department of Corrections while I was in prison, and I won everything, and got a lot of changes done while I was there. So I sued Alabama that ex felons could be able to vote. And so, in the midst of us doing it, they gave me my pardon. So now I can legally vote. So the lawsuit is for ex felons that cannot vote. So I had to step down from being the face of it. But nevertheless, they put me in the newspaper and everything because I'm the one that initiated it. And so we won that in 2017. And then they came up with an expungement law. Oh, and in the midst of that, my nephew, he was 5 years old at the time. His mother got killed. And so, if you have felonies and you're on parole, you cannot get a child out of foster care, nor can you adopt a child. You could go back to prison for applying. So he got put into foster care. And so my dad was like, well, you're the only one that could get him. I said, how can I get him? I'm on parole. And he said, but you're going to have to. So I went to my parole officer and I told him, he said, do what you have to do. I got your back. So I did. And I applied to get him out of foster care. And I did. The judge granted me full custody while on parole. And
Nice.
so I broke that barrier. Now people can, if it just depends on the case by case. But if you have a felony, if you're on parole, you can still get a kid out now. Um, then they changed the expungement law in 2021. So I applied for it. So this old ding dong prosecutor only been a prosecutor in Huntsville for like 2 years, so he didn't know me like the rest of them do. And so um he gonna deny my expungement. And I'm like, contest it. You can't contest anything against me. Is you crazy? So we go to court. We have to go to court. And so I won. And so the judge not only expunged my trafficking case, he expunged my murder case. So I'm the only person in the country with an expungement for a murder case.
Wow.
And also my case is a case of first impression, so it is in the law books. It is a case that the judges and lawyers and everybody will use to pattern on the other people's expungement cases as they come up.
Wow. So actually you have made a lot of changes throughout the world, throughout the United States. Because we have
Yes.
to look, we
So
have you to thank for a lot of these changes. And just the fact that you were able to adopt your nephew during your
yeah.
time of
While
you
on
going
parole.
through, right. That I know that made you feel
Because
good and that made your family happy.
it did, because actually, if man had anything to say, I wouldn't be off of parole until 2025. It is not
Oh.
2025 yet,
Praying that prayer.
you know? So, yeah, prayer changes things, and I pray a lot. A lot.
I do have a couple of more. I want to put you on a little hot seat questions, which are innocent. So we talk about
Okay.
you being part and voting. How important is voting to you now? And do you vote
Oh,
since
it's
you have a right?
extremely important. I vote every time they open up the polls.
Oh,
I don't care who it is running. I vote. I do. I think it's very important that people understand how important it is to vote, and not just because when the president come up, but in your local election. That's what builds the
changes
foundation
everything.
to the president. And if your foundation is made of straw, then you will get our ex-president. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to people need to learn, be educated about voting, and know that your vote do count. People say, well, my vote don't count. Yes, it does. How you think that one vote, that they needed
Mm,
one vote, and that vote that could have been your vote? You know, it's very important. And we was preparing to do a call to action to vote. Remember the guy at the riverboat last
mhm.
year, and
Yes.
he threw the hat up. That's considered a call to action. And so I'm planning to go down there and see if we can't do a call to action to vote. and throw the hats up at the riverboat. But I need people. I need people to help me do this.
We got you. You know
We
we
have a
do.
concert. Yeah, we have we could do have a concert because at the river they have concerts down there at the river. So I say we have a concert, we have a call to action to vote and get people out and just educate them on voting and have a voter registration set up, have the NAACP have tables and stuff set up so that you can vote. I'm a member of NAACP too. Also, um, I'm a member of quite a few.
That's a good thing. You
But
turn your life around. What advice would you give somebody who wants to go into to become a drug kingpin or queen pin? What advice would you tell them?
not to do it.
Right,
Not to do it. Let me tell you, then it was a different time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was learning, even the police, because, crack wasn't out. Crack came out when I was selling, and so police learned, they was learning. Now they learn, they know. And they give out a lot of time nowadays. And with this fentanyl, it's killing people. You could say, well, you sold crack or you sold cocaine. Yeah, but those people are still living. And,
right.
we didn't have to worry about if they took this hit, was they going to die? But you don't know. You sell this fentanyl, you don't know if that person's going to die. Do you want that on your conscience and on your heart? In your life, in your spirit, period. Because I know some people that killed some people, and he killed a guy for stepping on his shoes. And he told me, he said, every day he see that boy, every day. And this was in the 80s. And now he just about to lost his whole mind. I mean, so why would you want to put yourself through that? And it's no money in it. It's some money, but it's no money because by the time you make some money, they bust you, and then you get back
Mhm.
out, and now you broke, so you got to try to pay a lawyer, so you go and do it again, and then you get busted again. And this I know because I have a brother that thinks that, hey, they're not watching me, and I helped him out of a life sentence. I went to the DA, helped my brother, talk to the DA for my brother. I begged him, man. I told him, don't give my brother a life sentence. I can't live with that. We done lost our dad. You know what I'm saying? I can't live with all this. And so I said I could live with a 20 split five. Well, the DA gave him a 20 split four. My brother did the 4 years. He got out February, and he decided he wanted to do dabble, not with the same type of drug before, because that was heroin. So he figured he'd do something different, cocaine. What's the difference? None. And so he got busted, and he missed being out 30 days by one day.
Oh wow.
And now he's calling me. He wants me to help him. Help you do what? You already embarrassed me to the utmost of the embarrassment because you know I go to these I go to the DA and talk to these people for a person because I really believe that you want to change because that's what you told me. So I'm taking your word for it. Now I've helped other people and they took it and ran with it. They haven't been in no more trouble. And but him, my brother, hey,
Well, Perrion, I am gonna say this. If I ever, ever, ever get caught up, I'm calling you to come make sure I get out. I'm gonna say that because baby, you getting out and getting other people out. I need to make sure my team is right, and I'm definitely putting
yeah,
your
don't
number
you
in
get
your
no
number
trouble,
on my
girl.
team. Right, I'm trying to stay out, but I will be calling you. Like y'all better call up Miss Roberts to help me out. Stop playing. So yeah, I'll do that.
Look, I had one guy got in trouble in Tennessee. I'm like, he's talking about come and help me, please. And they were trying to give him 40 years for
Oh
0 point no grams, just nothing. And it was a part of Tennessee that he was in, and they're really racist up there. And so
yeah,
I'm like, how am I going to help you? I know Alabama law, not Tennessee. That means I've got to go and study Tennessee law books and what you've done. I don't have time for all of that. But make a long story short, I ended up helping him because they was trying to give him 40 years based upon selling in a school zone. Well, I asked him, was it a school there? He said he don't remember seeing one. So I drove up there and I'm looking in 100-yard radius, north, south, east, and west, and I don't see a school. I see an abandoned playground. So what they were doing is they enhanced young black guys' sentence to saying that they sold at a school zone, but it was a playground. And so I threatened them to call the feds in on them, and they took it off. And then I talked with the attorney general, and they gave him 8 years. Ended up giving him 8 years. He already did close to 4. So I talked to the attorney general, and he took off 8 months. And I had told him after we had our conversation. Then I told him about me and that somebody gave me a second chance. And I said, when will somebody ever decide that somebody is worthy to get a second chance? And so
Right.
he did. He took off 8 months and then he watched my episode and he turned around and took off 2 more years. So he took 2 years and 8 months off his time. So he'll be home in December. And
Right.
I said, don't you get in no more trouble because I'm through being a lawyer. And
Right.
but but yeah, if I have to, I will.
Yes.
I'll look over people's case. I'll look at it and see because there's always a loophole in every case. There's a
Right.
loophole. There's always because man makes mistakes, and
Mhm.
so there's always a mistake somewhere, even if it's the smallest mistake. I have helped people win cases on a little small mistake that didn't nobody hear but me.
Miss
So
Perrion, you have
yes,
had
ma'am.
you done a lot in your life and you accomplished a lot. What would you say year to date? What's your greatest accomplishment?
Oh wow, I have a lot of those. I think. Uh,
You can list them
my I
all.
can I really think my greatest accomplishment is changing Perrion, changing me
That's a good one.
because I I used to always say I'm never gonna stop selling drugs. I love selling drugs. I love waking up in the morning and going and selling drugs. And so I think that's my greatest accomplishment is to change my mindset and to change me and to be an example for others. I think that's about my biggest
How hard was
accomplishment.
it for you to change your mindset?
It really wasn't hard. Um, it wasn't hard because we had lost our mom a few years prior to when I got bused, a couple of years, and I was I was done. Because we lost our mom and grandmother 2 months apart, and so they were like my world, and so I didn't know how to survive without them, and I just didn't care. So I was wilding out when I got busted. And I was tired, and I prayed and I asked God to to stop me, and I don't want to sell drugs no more, and I needed a way out. Well, he gave me one. It wasn't the one that I wanted. And so, but it was the one that he chose for me. And so, you know,
How was prison for you? Did people know who you were and did they like, yo, we better not mess with
uh,
her because she's blah blah blah?
yes, ma'am. My name preceded me before I even got there. They knew me in all the prisons. We have a one women prison, and in the men prison, even prisons in Mississippi, it was people there. They knew me everywhere. I didn't even know that. I met a lady. She was from Mississippi, and her brother was in prison in Mississippi, in Yazoo, Mississippi. And so we had took a picture, and she sent the picture to him, and he said, wrote her back and asked who was I because it was some guys came in his cell and told him to take the picture down. He because if he didn't know me, he needed to take the picture down. And he was trying to find out who I was. And he said everybody in the prison know her, even white people. And I'm like, really? And so, and my mom always said, the quietest person is the loudest person. And I'm quiet, I watch everything, and I just never thought nobody, I knew people knew me, but I didn't know how far and how many people did. And they respected me. When I got to prison, they respected me. I didn't have no problems.
That's
You know,
good.
basically they wanted me to help them, with their paperwork or something like that. And I would do it sometimes, sometimes I wouldn't. It just depends. Because especially when I was filing a lawsuit against the prison, I didn't have time to really write a lot of letters for people. I wrote some of them went home, some of them got their time cut, and then they went home later. But prison was an experience. Um, I don't like being locked up.
Mm-mm.
uh, I hate that with a passion, and the Lord knows that. Oh, but I I took it and I learned from it, and I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want my life to be me in prison for the rest of my life. I just can
Right.
imagine, being in prison and for the rest of my life. I've seen so many people that have a life sentence, and basically they walk around like zombies because they're on medication so that they can deal with where they are and where they're going to be. They'll
Right.
never be able to be on the outside. And a lot of them I felt sorry for because some of them I truly, truly believe that they were innocent. I've read some of them cases, and it was like some of them just didn't deserve to be there, or they actually really didn't do it. And and that's sad to see, you know.
Yeah, that is very sad.
uh,
So with
And
you
then
only
and
been in
then
prison for 2 years, was it hard for you to adapt, like coming back out? Was it like a lot of things changed in the world within those 2 years, or not much change for you? Because that's a short time. Short time.
it didn't change for me because it's a mental thing, you know what I'm saying? You we how did I say this? You should be able to adapt in
Hmm.
any environment. You have to condition your mind. See, and I talk about that in my book. You have to condition your mind to go to prison. You should anyway. Prepare yourself and block out the outside world because that means nothing to you. That's no longer your life. That's not your
Right.
world. That's not your life. And so you have to adapt to your situation and where you are. And therefore you could maneuver. Same with getting out of prison. You you condition your mind, you coming home. So why not start conditioning your mind to that you are about to be a free person? And know and what do you have what do you have set up for you to do? First, you need your ID. If you don't have it, you need your social security card, you need your birth certificate, you need all your personal information. You should have that wrote down of what you're going to do and the steps in which you're going to do it in. Because
Hmm.
because if you don't have some type of guide and stay the course or somebody to help you stay the course, you will easily fall off and you will be right back in the same predicament and the situation that you just come out of.
Right. That's great advice. And I say it's great advice because you hear about so many people that spend a certain amount of time in prison and then they go right back in because they're not able to adapt to what's on the outside because they've been locked
Right,
up for so long. So they do need that. That's why that's great advice because I hate when I hear about the people coming out and all of a sudden they back in. Or, some
right.
people actually go to prison and then they find out, well, not find out, but they have to pay the bills and they don't want to pay the bills because it's so expensive or they can't find the right job. So why not go back to prison and get my little meals that I get and do the thing? And so that's another sad thing.
Free, free. You get 3 meals a day, Monday through Friday. Saturday you get, I mean Sunday you get 2 meals. You get breakfast and you get dinner. Um, and you better hope you can make store. And everything on the store is just as expensive in there as it is out here. And so and you make what, a penny a month, something
Oh
like
wow.
that. So you get 12 cents a year. And so that when you hear people say that it's um modern day slavery, it is. And actually, you're supposed to pay people. You're supposed to pay people. If you have an inmate working, I don't care if it's a state job and um they're picking up trash. You're supposed to pay the minimum wage. That's the law, but they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
don't.
All right. Well, Miss Perrion, I asked you a lot of questions today, and I hope to have you back on Access Unlock the show. I want you to tell us where we can find you on social media and a couple more things that you have going on and where to get your book.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. No, it's not Twitter no more. It's, what is it? Twinkle, whatever it
We're
is,
gonna
and
still say Twitter
TikTok.
because that's what I call it.
Yeah, yeah, and TikTok. And on Instagram, it's Perrion_Roberts. So that's how you find me. On Facebook and TikTok, it's just Perrion Roberts. Also, my book, you can go to Amazon, you can go to True Vine Publishing, and you can get my book anywhere that books are sold. You can go online and get it. And
And tell them the
also,
title again.
it's Criminal Thinking Reform, and it's
Okay.
a workbook. So it has pages in it so that you can literally condition and change your mind because you got a workbook. It's a workbook anyway. So you have some paper to help your mind, help your mindset,
All
and
righty.
learn to manifest. I talk about manifesting a lot in the book. So there's a chapter on that as well. I have a luggage line that I'm about to do a
Nice.
complete rollout. So we're working on the rollout and to bringing it out. I have inventory on the way. I'm excited about that because I've been invited to United Way having a gala for women, and they raise money so that they can help the women in the community. And last year they helped 30,000 women, and
Wow.
from this gala, and they want me to donate a luggage to the winner because they're going to do like a bingo, have like a bingo or something. And
Hmm.
so for the winner, they want me to donate to a lady who, because the ones that's winning can't afford a luxury luggage. And so I'll be donating, giving one to them, and I'm excited about that. And also, I have a blanket that I'm going to roll out. You didn't ask me about that, but anyway,
Well,
I'm
tell
going
me, tell me. There was
to.
so much you
so,
have to share that I can't possibly get it all in. But tell us about the
so,
blanket.
so the blanket is inspired by when I said that I make the guys sleep on the floor with my dog,
No, you
and
didn't tell us
so
that. That's what I asked. Tell us about the. Wait a minute, we not done yet. Tell us about the blanket and sleeping on the floor. I'm sure it was probably a pit bull or something. I don't know.
no, actually, it was a chow.
Oh,
he
okay.
was
They just as
he was
bad, but go
black.
ahead.
He was black, and his name was King. And so, like, if guys, if I have a guy to come over or whatever, I wouldn't, and we do our thing. I wouldn't let him sleep in the bed with me. He couldn't sleep in the bed with me. He could sleep on the floor with the dog, or he could leave. He had a
Oh
choice.
no.
I didn't just throw him on the floor. You can sleep on the floor, or you can leave. So he chose to sleep on the floor. And so somebody asked me, he said, "Well, did you give him a blanket?" I said, "For what? I'm not putting my cover on the floor." You know what I'm saying? So that's what inspired the blanket. So now, if your lady puts you on the floor or put you in the doghouse, because they said I took putting you in the doghouse to a whole nother level. I done pimped you and everything. And um, so anyway, now you can have a blanket, a
Now they can have
personalized
a blanket, but back
carry-on
then they
blanket. Now
couldn't.
you can have a blanket. Yeah, first, no, 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 you can have a blanket. So you'll be able to have a blanket, and therefore you can get on the floor or the couch, wherever you choose to be. But anyway, so that's what inspired the blanket. And so I'm gonna have a picture of King on there. And I had bought him a chain. I paid like $2,500 for it. It was like the Fat Boys, the fat chain, and
Yeah.
a crown that said King. And it was in diamonds and emeralds and pearls. I paid like $2,500 back then for it. And when he wear it and we ride in the Jaguar, I think he thought he was somebody, a person,
He was the king.
because yes, he would stick his chest out so you could see his necklace. And so I said I was going to have his picture put on there, because therefore you will be on the floor with the dog, King.
Okay. That is, you know what? I definitely love the show Queen of the South. We need you to put your story in a movie. I need to see a movie or something.
Yes,
And that would
yes,
be
yes, yes,
tell you to
yes.
really
We
tell
want
your
to do
story, and
that.
then it'll show everything coming full circle, how you changed your life around to the positive person that you are today, to how you are helping people. Everybody needs to see this. Just because a person starts one way is not always how they finish. And that's the main thing that
So
I took
do
from the story.
so do you think it should be a movie or a TV series? TV series lasts longer.
The
Movie
TV
lasts.
series, because the show was awesome, and I caught every episode. And baby, from you shooting the man in the leg to champ and the whoop stick to sleeping on the floor, I would definitely have my popcorn every Wednesday or whatever day that show came on to watch it. And I would definitely love to sit back and see how you think through the show, as far as even suing the criminal justice system, and when you change to, your family praying, to your court battles. All that is important and good information. So it shows like the hard side of you, but it shows how you still brought it back to God. So
Oh,
I would definitely
absolutely.
love to watch that. So yeah,
So you
yeah,
think a TV series would be a good
yes,
way to
I
go?
definitely need to see the club scene, everything. But yes, the
Oh
TV.
my God. Oh, yes, definitely. And what about the bowling alley? Do you remember that part?
No, ma'am, but do tell.
When we went to some guy from another project had been into it with my guys, and they shot a hole in my car when I let them drive it, one of my cars. And so, anyways, we went looking for them, and we found them at the bowling alley. And so one of the guys got out of the car, and while we loading up and putting clips in and everything, he gets out with a sign and holds us. So we're like, what is he doing? What is Michael doing? He had a sign, and it said, "We declare war."
Wow.
And when he put the sign down, that's when we started shooting. And just by the grace of God, We didn't hit nobody, nobody. Out of all those people that was out there wasn't nothing but God blocking all those bullets.
Wow. It was this
And
book
but
years ago that I read, The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister
the
Soldier.
what?
Have you ever read that? It was a book by
What was
Sister
it called?
Soldier, The Coldest Winter
Uh,
Ever. And that
no.
kind of that's a lightweight version of the stuff that you just said. And I think you should read the book. And back when Jada Pinkett and them wanted to put it in a movie, but one thing that I remember from the book when she was dating this guy, and he was a drug dealer, but he locked her in like a room, and he had his dog, his I think it was a pit bull or something, and she couldn't get out the room. So every day he was there. But anyway, you just need to read the book. Read this kind of, and
That
then you
sounds
can put the combination
good.
of that and your story in a movie or a TV show. Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're gonna have to text me that so I can make sure I got
I
the
sure
right spelling
will.
and everything. So
Yes,
yes, because
ma'am.
I will read it. I read too. I I read. I read a lot. I think a lot. My friend, she's in the hospital right now, but she said, Perrion, you're always thinking your mind because I can wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. And
Yeah.
I rarely sleep. And she said, Perry, your mind, you don't sleep. Your mind is steady going, even though your body is laying down. She told me I need to take some melatonin or something because I'm always thinking. Even when I'm asleep, I'm thinking. And I don't know why, but that's just how
But
it
and then at
is.
a certain time of the morning, when you sleep, it's like the universe opens up and sends you information. And I used to call it, I think while I sleep, because like if I can go before I go to sleep, if I have something on my mind, when I wake up over in the middle of the morning of the next day, I have the answer. It's like it's there, and to me,
Yes,
it's like God is speaking to
yes.
me, and I'm like, okay. So I tell people,
Hmm.
I think while I'm asleep, I come back with the answer. So yeah, the
Yeah,
universe poured into
yeah,
you.
yes. Yeah, because I'm always thinking of something. I have an invention now that I did, um, but I'm just waiting. I got to birth some of these other babies that I got
Okay.
going, and then I'll come out with it because they still it's a need, and but I have so much going on. I just can't do it right now,
Well,
but
I
I will.
definitely want to help you with the voting idea to get out and vote in the
Yes,
concert. So, we'll
yes.
we're definitely going to talk about that. And I
Okay.
definitely want to have you back on the show because we got
Absolutely.
lots to talk about. But anyway,
Ah!
we do. And I'm gonna talk to
Yeah,
you
you
all.
we do.
Yeah. But I want to thank you for stopping by Access Unlock the show. Everyone check out Miss Perrion Roberts, her new book. And hey, y'all have a great day. And we're out.
Bye.